had already heard.
I can turn a shade tree into a money tree. The clips are coming out online that people know that Marlo, was bringing some
rumors to the
circle.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
It's kind of nice to see everything just kind of play out. I saw Marlo did like this 4-part video the other day addressing it. I'm like, how you addressing the shit that ain't even out yet? But apparently there's been a lot of talk and backlash and opinions. When joining this platform, let's be clear, I am no stranger to reality TV. But you gotta remember, when I started reality TV, it wasn't even called reality TV. They didn't know what the shit was called. It was called competition-based docuseries.
Right.
And now we have an entire genre, right? So I'm used to kind of like shooting and just what happens, and then you edit it. Mm-hmm. So watching this back and kind of seeing it, I'm like, what is going on? For me, living out loud is, you show the world your life, but then there are also certain things that you feel are private. So I get kind of taken aback, like the first season I was on here when Shamil was asking me about my sexuality. I'm like, I'm sorry. What is your last name? Like, do I know you? But then the fans are looking like, girl, you signed up for a reality show.
That is true.
Be transparent, right?
That is the thought. We on a reality show.
Right.
People gonna be coming out the woodwork at you with all kinds.
You do know that, but you don't know it. So I guess you think you know it until it happens to you.
Especially now that you're holding a peach. Now that you got the peach, they coming for you.
Which I didn't expect. I just thought I had to wear a couple more eyelashes. Like, I didn't expect that, like, you gotta, protect this and protect that and watch out. Like, I had no clue. So there's that fine line between like, I'm living out loud, this is my life, to like, okay, look, we're going a little bit too far with this shit. Mm-hmm. It's too much. This episode coming up, I think you see me battle between like, did you really do that? And you're already living it out loud. It's already on the table, so you gotta deal with it.
Right.
So it's the between like, I am still a whole person and you can't just violate me, but it is out there.
Just to be clear, Marlo was bringing tea about, your personal business about where you live.
Where I live, my finances, all kind of, however you can slander somebody. Honey tried to scalp me, right? My husband does a really good job at like bringing it back to full circle. Like, look, you don't owe anybody an explanation, but by the same token, this shit is on the table.
Right.
So because it's on the table, your piece need be said. Like, you have to say your side.
Right.
Which I come from the position like, don't nobody deserve to pay my bills. My last four, my social is my last four. You know what I mean? But it's like, no, like you're out here, you represent a lot of people, you speak for people. You know what I mean? So
dealing with what your husband said, what is your answer?
So for me, I came back. Okay, so when it first happened and Tanya first said something to me, I was like, oh, I ain't dealing with this shit. I don't owe y'all an explanation. So I find out that there's been some shit being talked about me in these streets.
Right.
And apparently there was a pact supposed to be made between Nene and Marlo and Tanya because they were in cahoots about this conversation. Okay. They were supposed to like, okay, wait, Marlo, you and Eva barely cool. Tanya, you don't really know Eva. And Nene, I guess you know Eva the best, so you'll tell Eva what happened. But
I've been through that similar situation earlier this season, but
what's crazy to me, because I'm like, the school that I come from is if I was sitting in a group of people with two people that you barely knew and I was the most familiar and people were talking, I just call you and be like, Candy, hey, you busy? Mm-hmm. So this is what happened. Especially considering they was already filming it. I mean, the camera's there. You've been in Marlo house twice in 80 years, and now, this is one at a time.
Let me just say to the show platform, I mean, they always encourage us not to have conversations off camera.
Oh, I agree. But the cameras were there, so instead of making this pact not to say nothing to me,
you're saying for her to go ahead and call you while she's on camera.
Marlo and Tanya, y'all sit here and play with some fashion. Let me go call Eva.
Okay,
because this could get back to her before I get a chance to speak to her on camera, right?
Gotcha.
Which ends up being Tanya's fear. So we're sitting here at your opening, which is all about celebration. Black woman entrepreneur opening up another spot. She's cute. We're here. Everybody's eating. I just got back from my honeymoon, honey. I didn't even press my hair. Like, chilling. Tanya, I think, is in fear of, oh my God, this girl's finna come in here and light Eva up because I don't know, been hanging out with her for the last 3 months and that's her nature. So let me warn her so that this is about to happen. I personally, thoroughly, and totally, and still to this day, appreciate that she did that. Mind you, anybody that would have brought me this information, if it was you, if it was Nene, if it was a producer, I would have been pissed off.
Right.
Okay? So it has nothing to do with the messenger and the person that brought it. It's the information that's irritating. So I'm not mad that Tanya brought me the information. I'm actually happy, and I feel like she was trying to give me a heads up of something that was super duper personal.
Somebody who knows you spilling some negative stuff.
Hold on, pause.
Yes.
Especially because what Nene did do was give them enough information to let them know that, like, there is a valid restraining order in place that has been in place for quite some time, and I know her safety as far as where she lives is a concern for her.
Okay.
So that's why Nene said, like, hey, let me talk to her, because it's not just a, like, simple conversation. But with that, I felt like the whole situation should have been dealt with in that manner, like a little bit more sensitively. It wasn't. And I decided to leave. I think my most frustrating part of that whole thing was when I decided to leave. Now, you know how it is, Candy. I took my mic off. I was like, I am done. I peeled off in the car.
Yeah, she was over with us.
I was done.
She was like, throw the whole show away.
Oh God. So I get in the car and Nene calls me. And I'm like, I'm not talking to y'all. I don't owe y'all shit. I'm not, like, I was vexed. And Nene's like, E, let me talk. Like, please, can I just talk to you? Like girl to girl. And I said, Nene, I will have a conversation with you privately. So that, I guess, so you can properly understand the gravity of what I'm trying to explain to you. And she told me, okay. So when she came to speak to me, and we see it on camera, she's like, she doesn't want me to have a microphone on. She's gonna be so mad at me. All she had to do is say, look, we shooting this show, I had to keep my mic on. How you gonna make it seem like...
Well, child, I can't tell y'all about it now, but I have an instance in my own damn self where I told one of my girls on the show, I mic'd up.
Go ahead. But, well, this doesn't work against me because literally everything I told her in privacy, I end up saying to, you know what I'm saying, to the girls, not knowing that the private conversation was taped. And so it was nothing that I was trying to hide. It was me trying to sincerely let her understand the gravity of this. Like, this is not like who's sleeping with who and, you know what I mean? Like, this is some real shit. And I felt like I got played on the situation. I felt like, you know, friends don't do friends like that. But I guess what we learned is, you know, we co-workers.
Yeah.
So,
well, I learned
teach me. I learned a lot this season. You want to ask me what I've learned at my first year? Is that we are co-workers.
What did you learn on your first season?
You know what? What I learned is take every day with a grain of salt. And with those that you think are your friends. So what that means to me is just because you're new in my world doesn't mean you're not genuine and you're not cool. I'm not gonna throw you away because we don't have a history. And the people I have a history with, I'm not gonna take it just because we have history. Like, we gotta earn this shit every day. Me do my effort and my part and being a good person and being a good friend and vice versa. Expect the unexpected. The ones you would think would ride for you won't, and then the ones you think forget your name have been riding for you all along.
On this episode, our second actual location, because I consider the one in the State Farm Arena as like a concessions version.
Okay.
So yeah, the second standalone restaurant for Old Lady Gang opened up. Well, you guys got a preview of it.
Yes, we got a sneak peek, and they had these little containers. What I can say is that they should have had bigger plates because I ate about 4 of the little
mac and cheese.
Man.
Well, listen, it was just supposed to be some taste testers, but people were grabbing those.
Dinner.
I see.
Yeah,
I see. But
it's good.
Yeah, we've been doing really good on Camp Creek as well. So I want to say thank you to everybody that has been supporting Old Lady Gang Restaurant.
You know, one of the things that was not shown on the show, but happened since the second week of the show, was me house hunting. I've been house hunting because I had to move at the end of October.
Oh, okay.
The whole show.
That's what I didn't understand. So
which was so crazy because on the show, they're like, they made it cutting back and forth like, I gotta leave now. I got to go. Thief in the night. I'm like, dude, everybody.
That's what it came off like.
No.
Because they were like, okay, I'm gonna tell you what happened. The day that they had us to come meet up together that day, they were like, yeah, she wants to meet with you right now. She has to talk to you about, you know, she's moving.
So when you gonna move?
In like 2 days.
I'm like, today? Didn't she just get home? I was like,
always
What is
moving.
happening?
And even the part when I was talking to, when I was talking to you, this stuff had just happened with the bridesmaids drama. So it was more so like, I just wanted to vent about that. I at least knew out of everybody, you were not a part of that world.
Well, I wasn't.
I know. And so when I sat down and talked with you, it was just like, oh my God, my wedding's over. Honeymoon was great. And I come back and it is like smoke in the city.
I heard she's been having some financial hardships.
Financial hardship?
The house that she's in is not actually where she lives.
Wow. And so it was that, and it was like the bridesmaids getting into it. Remember, there was drama, and I was kind of like,
that's when I heard about it. They got into it.
That stuff,
at the wedding.
But then
you guys didn't get to see that either. I thought that was crazy because it seemed like they showed that in a preview clip.
I thought so too.
They did, right? Okay, in the preview clip, they kind of showed her bridesmaids, the whole
like
getting
the
into
drama.
it, but they never showed it in the show.
No, they didn't.
Which was weird.
So
but
when
she had an actual crazy thing that happened at her wedding. They never showed it to you.
Yeah, no, it was drama. And the bigger part of
she
it
had
all,
some fights and some people got cussed out.
It was a lot. But the bigger part was, and Nene said this part when at the OLG opening about my driver's license. She's like, I got your driver's license in my phone. Like, it's been sent to me. It's been sent to a lot of people. Now, mind you, since the second week of the show, I've been looking for a home and deciding, like, what are we going to do? We're renting.
She lives in a raggedy little house.
Obviously, never said I owned. I always said I rented. I moved out here 6 months pregnant, and I just had my baby, and the baby's barely 6 months old. So we're just figuring out what we want to do and comfortable while figuring it out. But she sent out my driver's license, which is like my address. And she, of all people, knows that I have a full protective order against somebody who, like, is not always sane. And so that is such a liability to me and my kids. And where I was already moving, now I gotta, like, figure out right now where I'm gonna move. You know what I mean? Like, my lease was up in October, but you can live month to month, you can do whatever, but now I have to, like, figure it out right now, and I feel like I gotta move to Fort Knox.
Right, okay,
and so that, you know, and that's not properly explained on the show, but
I wanted to make it clear, because I saw the clip that had been surrounding online. I want to make it clear. When I said, why is she moving from a rental to another rental? Let me make it clear. Why is she going to move from a rental to another rental? If you want to move to a rental to another rental, that's no big deal. I was saying it more so because she had told me that she was about to get a house. So I was like, well, why are you going to this in-between space? Why you just don't
stay
go
where you are
and go to your next spot that you looking for?
Right.
That's what I was talking about. But to speak about the tea that was dropped now, I'm going to have to ask you this one.
Yes.
You had to address it.
it was a lot of tea.
She said you had a whole relationship with a woman in California.
Sounds like I have a family.
Yeah. I was like,
I got a whole nother family.
what is this and where did that come from?
So Mike and I have been dating since I turned 30. I be 35 this year. I have a child, and we have a child together, and we never went more than 2 weeks without seeing each other.
Okay.
So how I could have a whole nother life with being a single mom with this child back and forth between LA and Atlanta, I have no idea what she's talking about. You
so
know,
they're not going to bring a woman on to the next season.
No, and you have to consider
just
the
messing
source.
with you.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it doesn't deserve explanation, but you got to consider the source. Love her to death, but we are just talking about something that somebody heard, and that somebody's Marlo, and it's what she heard in the streets.
Yeah.
What's your next question?
Okay, another thing that's been big in the blogs lately. Nene unfollowed all of us after the reunion. How did you feel about being unfollowed?
Oh my God, it's so Petty Pendergrass. Oh, it is just,
Not Petty Pendergrass.
It is so Petty LaBelle.
Yes.
As the youngest person and like millennial of the crew, I think it is.
She loved telling everybody how she the youngest. Go
It
ahead.
is, and I say it because the lack of maturity in certain situations is appalling to me. That is the only reason why I emphasize the age, because I'm like, at what point does it matter? Like, who cares? And you know, it's one of those things where Nene is the OG of this show, right? She done left the show, and came back, but she has been here since the first season. And with that, she knows how the show goes. So to follow, unfollow, post, subliminal, it's like, you know, people are going to pick it up and you know they're going to talk about it.
True.
So it's one of those things like, just be direct and have the conversation. Don't have it, whatever. So I guess that was direct enough for me. Like, this is where it's at. And then I hear that we're all coworkers. I'm like, that's fine. It's just weird because the job is to show the relationships. So even though we're coworkers,
it's hard though. It's hard because it's like at the end of the day, it's like we're all constantly at it about something. You know,
but that's life. Like, imagine if the show was insert family name, family, right? So the Burris Tucker family or the Sterling family. There's always gonna be something. There's gonna be something that me and Mike got irritated about. Something going on with
I think it's different with your family though, because like with my family, regardless of whatever they do, I'm not cutting my family off. But it's like, I mean, there are definitely people who have been in my life who weren't necessarily blood that I thought we were close, and then, you know, you fall out and I'll be like, okay, you're cut. You know what I mean? But you can't do that on this show.
So do you guys feel that when stuff like this happens, they're really your friends in the beginning, or you were really just coworkers?
Well, wasn't nobody my friend. I don't know. Candy been here quite some time, so Candy's most likely made relationships and friendships and then broken them with some people. For me, I genuinely came into this, and this is my right hand and left hand to God. Like, no preconceived notions of who I thought any of these people were. You're the only person I knew, like, actually from the industry. So, like, what blogs say or this TV show says about who a person is, I never took that. Like, I walked in here and gave every single person their own chance. I'm not a respecter of person. I don't care what you have, don't have, whatever. But after time goes on, people just become irritating. Things you agree with fundamentally, things you don't agree with, relationships you thought you established, and it's like, you don't afford me the respect of this conversation. Or like me and Portia, you know, when I came and talked to you, I was like, look, I see Portia all the time. Like, I'm over here doing dish fillings.
Y'all see each other every day.
Every other day. So when the whole, like, you call her a den mother, I'm like, first of all, I've never even said, what is a den mother? Second of all, you done turned me calling her mother into, like, this whole horrible, slanderous, shady situation.
What did look shady?
Because it's called an edit.
Right,
And,
I'm
and that's
saying
fine.
when you watched it,
And that's fine.
did you get it?
When I watched it, I got it. What I didn't get is, if you thought it was that shady, why you ain't say nothing to me like this whole time? Especially because you're not a not vocal person. Like, she speak on it.
Right, but I don't know if that was necessarily anything that would be that serious to her.
Right, so then why are we bringing it up 3 months later at dinner? If it ain't that serious.
Because it's the show.
No, and I call bullshit.
I mean,
Because
that's
we
the
have to
show.
decide. Candy,
Because,
either
no,
we gonna keep it real or we not. Either the shit matter or it don't. Either this is our life and we living it in front of the camera and we gonna keep it greasy. Like, this conversation is a real conversation. They contrived, it's real. Or we can edit the shit and get questions and edit it and make it good for TV.
And then blame it on fun shade.
And then right, and then blame it on the girl. Where you come from?
No,
I like her. Everybody on the show say the show is about being shady. Then why are we talking about if it's shady or not? Like, unless you think that what I'm trying to do is really be hurtful or undercut or dirty, but if it's all fun shade, what is it to write home about?
Okay.
We gonna keep it G or we not? We cannot select, like, okay, it's a TV. And I get it, Marlo does it. Like, the camera's on, everybody act extra.
I'm gonna have to use my example of myself. We had a very rough misunderstanding.
Girl, and you know how I'm talking right now is how I genuinely felt about it, because I'm like, I see you all the time. Never did I think that you thought I had a problem with dark-skinned
And
people.
see, that's the thing that I don't like, that you had that takeaway. Because for me, I didn't walk away saying you have a problem with dark-skinned people,
But
because
that's
I
how it
consider
came
myself.
across on TV for the sake of TV.
Can I say?
Sorry, my bad.
For myself, I personally consider myself dark-skinned. I did not have a problem with you or anything like that. What I feel is sometimes when we be around our friends, we talk shit and we may say things that the other person feels is inappropriate or whatever. Like, girl, like, oh, I can't believe you just said that. But it's not nothing that you just want to go on and on about. We be talking shit. And I personally, at that moment, felt like you was talking shit about Shamia and you made a comment. I was like, well, that was fucked up. But it wasn't anything for me to where I was going on, talking. You didn't even see me in any other scenes or any of the girls talking about it.
That's why I was so thrown. I'm gonna let you finish that.
Let me finish. But we do our interview things, and they ask us about different things that happen in different conversations. And it's like, well, what did you think about the comment? And I was like, well, that was kind of fucked up, whatever. But it wasn't for me. It wasn't like, I wasn't hurt by the comment. It's just like, sometimes people say shit that's just like, well, damn, that was fucked up. And you keep it moving. But to me, I feel like, yes, when you go back and watch the show and the interview clips are added in, yes, it can be like, well, damn, why she didn't say that to me, blah, 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 blah. It was like in my mind.
Sounds like me and Cynthia's situation.
Right.
That was brought back and put 10 on 2.
Right, exactly. But my point is, it's like when you walk out the door, you ain't thinking nothing else about it until it comes up in your interviews.
Right. So for me, it was one of those things where it wasn't like off the lake onto the runway. Like to say that I don't like an entire section and
how did I say you didn't?
And I don't. This is my thing, Candy. That was the takeaway. The takeaway versus what the intent was and what it was are two so different things.
That is true.
So for this, I think. And after having talked to you, and I think you understand my part a lot more too after having spoken to me, is that when I first started talking, I started saying like, oh, I like Shamari. I like this friend. Shami is messy. That's the messy friend. I like the new friend, right? So when you were saying I was shady, I thought you just kept saying I was shady because that was the conversation. Not because I said black with a Q and you took that as, oh, because she's dark skinned. So when you said like, oh, I said something there, I said you were shady as fuck. And I was like, yeah, but you said that since the first comment I made. So I didn't know that you were like, this comment right here is a, you know what I'm saying? Like at all. All I got and my messages were, I benefit, because mind you, I did a lot before this show. So I came on with my own fan base before this show. They looking for yoga poses and mantras on my Instagram. Like my Instagram is very namaste, my soul recognizes yours. So now I'm getting like, oh, I was a fan of yours, but you don't like dark skinned people. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? How did we get there from there? And the thing is that despite your intent, that's how it came across. And so I was combated with like, what's your issue with dark skinned people? And it's actually a very serious issue in communities of color. For me to even be thrown in that for like an inkling of an idea of that, I was just disgusted. And then we never had a conversation about it. Like me and you never like was like, hey E, so this shit wasn't the way it came off on camera, but it did come off like that. Like we never had a conversation, and then you did the whole podcast video.
Because I speak on everything that happens on the episode.
That just felt like speak to me because the conversation was about me. Like the Giovanna stuff, yellow dress, get it, whatever, talk to her, whatever. But when it came to that, I just felt like that was something that was a little bit more serious, something that was a very much so misunderstood and can have been taken out of context, but it could be very hurtful to a lot of people. So that I felt like if we gonna speak on it, that should have had spray starch and ironed like all the way out.
Okay, well, that's the way I had took it at that moment.
I know.
And I'm just like, and when and here's my problem. I'm not great with communication, especially with during the time we're in season, because I don't know, I guess I've fallen into play with this whole rule they have of don't talk outside of the camera.
No, she reeled that.
Because it's like what I find is when we settle different disagreements off camera, it's like when it's time to address it again on camera,
it doesn't play right.
You guys don't miss what happened. You guys didn't even get to see how it got resolved.
Right.
You guys didn't get to see any of that.
Right.
And then it turns into, well, there's no show. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're
saying. And not to say that I'm trying to make everything about a show, but you know, the basis of most of us that's on this cast is a basis of our relationship is that we're on the show together.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And so it's not like I'm not trying to take away that moment of people being able to get to see how things got resolved, how we talked it through. But in this situation, I could have handled it better because, you know, mind you, when it happened, I didn't really think nothing else after I walked out that door. But when it aired, I should have reached out to you and said, you know what, I wasn't trying to say you had something against the whole world of black people. That wasn't what I was trying to say. You know, so I could have handled that better.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And that was wrong with me. And you know what, I personally feel like in the last 2 years, it's been a definite, you know, me having to figure out how to deal with everybody in
Yeah.
this group because
And it's a learning process. Like, I think that's what I'm learning. I mean, shit, I just got thrown into everybody. It's one of those things where, like, I'm getting to know all the women and they're getting to know me. And the conflict, I just consider it growing pains.
it's definitely, but just to say, for me, with this new group of girls,
Who, what, me, Shamari, and Tanya?
yes, it's so hard for me because I like all y'all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, I knew Shamari before, but it's just so weird for me when coming into this show because, for me, it's like when I first got on the show, I was so open to be like, yeah, this is my buddy, da, 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 da. And then when that shit backfires on your ass, you be kind of like, tainted.
So, okay, so.
And now I'm like, I don't know if I want to be friends
So speak on
like
that.
that.
Well, so for me and the Tanyas and the Shamaris, I think we're very much so early season candy. We're very like, hey, this is who we are. You know what I'm saying? This is our life. Then there's also that fear every time you feel like you get sucker punched
Jabbed.
by somebody where it's like, to the point where by the end of the season, where the person that I thought I was the closest to on the show, I'm revealed that like maybe I'm absolutely zero priority to you. Totally fine. Glad I learned it. But I'm learning that and it kind of hurts. So now I'm looking at everybody else like, I don't know if I want to go to lunch with you. You know what I'm saying? And I think that feeling sucks.
that feeling does
That's
suck.
like such a sucky feeling.
That's where I have been, especially for the last few years.
It's weird when your guards go up so high that like you're scared to deal with
Because you
each
don't
other.
know what conversations you can have and what you can't have with certain people.
But that sucks. Like,
Well, you know what it is? There's the group that you guys said, it's an unspoken alliance where we respect each other and each other's space. and
can
we're
we talk
friends.
about that? Because
But
that
then
is
you find
weird.
out that there's real alliances that people have built, which is going to break up the group that just thinks we're cool. So that's
Right.
where the balance is weird. Like, is this a show where we're really doing a real life, or are we really co-workers? And then these
Or are
separate
we all
alliances?
just gonna strategize and make a show?
Right.
And I think I come from the school of I thought this was really what's going on. So if I'm like, fuck you, I don't like you, then when the cameras come on, when the cameras are off, and when you text or whatever, it's like, I don't like you. I'm cool. No, thank you. Versus like, oh, guys, we're filming. Like, okay, let's film. I don't like you. Like, we not going to me.
Well, obviously, I've been
And
that
to
way.
me, that is still a show.
Yeah, it is. Now let's be clear. You know good and damn well that I have no problem saying I don't like somebody on this damn show.
I guess I'm just learning who I don't like and don't like me.
But when you're around people on a regular basis, it's hard for you to feel that way.
But
It's like, say for instance, with me and Portia, I was like real mad at her for a while.
Yes, you were.
And then it's like, in real life, I could have just been like, okay, whatever.
But sometimes you get
when
tired of being mad.
You get tired of being
You
mad.
get tired of being
Especially when
mad.
you're around each other and then you be laughing at each
The
other's
little jokes and stuff.
I'm like, how the hell am I keep
Little
laughing at her fucking jokes?
Little baby hair be pretty. You're like, she do look cute today.
It's
Damn.
like we laughing with each other and then I can't stay mad like
Yeah.
that. So,
and that to me is real. That's
Right.
genuine. That's very genuine.
You're right. So it's like as you're trying to mend fences, it's still that whole feeling of, okay, is it safe to be cool with you? How I know you ain't gonna flip on
But
me?
the thing is
You know?
that you don't.
Yeah.
I think one thing you have learned, and we've all learned just through life, through the show and through life experiences, the ones that you could bet your bottom dollar on will still flip on you, and then the ones you thought that you couldn't trust will be there for you in your lowest time. So it's one
That
of
is
those
true.
where you either got to decide, like, either I'm gonna be calculated and play this and make it all about a money play, or I'm gonna be genuine, let the chips fall where they may. Sometimes I got shit to sweep up, but at the end of the day, I was being true to me the whole time. I have to, at least now and then, anticipating, more from this group and a life in the future. I gotta just be like, it is what it is. If I like you today, then I like you today. If I don't, I don't. I can't do this whole I'm cordial for TV and we work friends stuff. Like, that's not how.
You said work friends. Well,
Like-
you got work friends on your other job.
Yeah, and after work, like, our kids hang out and we go get pizza and we
Yeah.
swap, ideas. And like, they send my kid to Walker because their kid really loved it. Like, I have those friendships, and the ones I don't, but I don't play like I do.
All right, we're gonna wrap this thing up. I had a great time talking with Eva today. And until next time, make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you can catch the next Speak On It.
I had already heard.
I can turn a shade tree into a money tree.